Hey, everybody. Come on in. Come on in the room. And as you're joining, let me know where you're watching from. Um, whether you're watching live or whether you're watching the replay, I am curious to know where you're watching from. Tonight, I want to talk about something that almost everyone has experienced at some point. And before I get started, I just want to let y'all know, even earlier as I went live, I'm like, the kids are outside playing. They're having a blast. The kids in the neighborhood, they love to come and play in front of my place. Don't ask me why. I don't know. Um, I love them though. I have great conversations with them. But anywho, they love to come play right over here, whether my daughter's here or not. So if you hear any noises or whatever, that's them outside frolicking and having fun. Anyway, let's get to it. I want to talk about something that all of us have experienced at some point, and that's financial stress. That is anxiety around money. Now, if you have ever experienced financial stress or worry or anxiety, I want you to put a one in the comments, okay? Whether you're watching live or whether you're watching the replay, do engage, okay? If you have ever experienced stress, worry, or anxiety around money, I want you to put a one in the comments. And listen, I have experienced it as well. Um, and just because am now teaching on money and all of that doesn't mean that 100% of the time I got it right. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes there are other things, that I'm like, you know. But what I will say is I check my thoughts a lot quicker today than I did several years ago, right? Because the thoughts will come. But the Bible says that, we have to take our thoughts captive, right? So that's what I've learned to do. Anywho, that feeling of pressure when the bills are coming in, when decisions need to be made, and it feels like there's never quite enough margin, right? Just never quite enough. Um, Most people assume something very simple. And what they assume is that if I just made more money, all my stress would go away. If I just made more money, all my worry would go away, all my anxiety would go away, all my problems would go away if I just made more money. But I want to challenge that thought tonight if I could. And I am, right? I want to challenge that thought tonight because financial stress isn't always about money. And I want to explain. I've worked with people who make very little income and they still have peace. And I've worked with people who are making six figures and beyond, who are constantly stressed, overwhelmed, and anxious about money. So if income was the issue, right, then that shouldn't be possible. How are people who are making six figures, seven figures, still having money stress, money worry, right? How is that possible? But it is possible. So, what then is actually going on? Well, in most cases, financial stress is not an income problem. And if you've been watching my lives, I hadn't gone live, I think, in the last 2, 3 nights, maybe more. I don't know. But if you've been watching my recent lives, I've mentioned that, right? That income is not the problem. The problem is clarity, right? You have a clarity problem. You also have a stewardship problem. You also have a priority problem. And let me break that down. And again, I'm not here, this is not condemnation or anything like that. Far from it. This is about getting to the root, right? And identifying this so that we can do better, right? When people don't have clarity in their finances, they don't know where their money is going, right? I've sat down with many people who are like, I can even tell you what I've done with my money in the last 30, 60, 90 days. I don't know what's gone out or what's coming. I just know that ends aren't meeting. something ain't right. Stuff is upside down, right? People also, um, when you don't have clarity in your finances, you also don't have a plan for your income. You are probably feeling a lot reactive instead of intentional when it comes to your decisions about money and the things that you have to do with money on a daily basis. You are also making decisions under pressure instead of peace, and everything feels urgent. Nothing feels stable, right? I know that feeling personally, and then having helped many people over the last um, almost 15 years, I have seen it, in other people. Everything is urgent. Everything has to be done yesterday. Nothing is stable. And I've seen that in finances, and I've seen that in other places too, like in a workplace where there are no clear goals, where there are no set intentions. Then everything that comes your way is going to feel urgent. Everything that comes your way is going to feel like it must be dealt with yesterday, right? And that creates a lot of instability because it's like you're always flying by the seat of your pants, right? And this happens in finances. And that creates stress, creates a lot of stress because the human mind doesn't respond very well to uncertainty. All right. So even if money is coming in, if there is no structure, if there is no direction, if there's no stewardship system, then your body is still experiencing the pressure. Now, here's something important from a kingdom perspective: stress is often a signal that something is out of alignment, okay? And it's not always a lack of provision. Sometimes it's a lack of stewardship structure, okay? The provision is there, but I'm not stewarding it well. My stewardship is out of alignment, okay? Because when your stewardship is in order, your decisions become clearer. Like it's not hard to make the right decisions because they're going to be in alignment with your assignment, your God given assignment, with your goals, with your values. They're going to be in alignment, right? When you are stewarding well, spending is intentional. Spending is intentional. When your stewardship is in order, your priorities are defined, your margin begins to show up, right? And your peace increases, not because the income suddenly changed, because actually, a lot of times when I am teaching people, whether it's one on one or they've gone through my courses, it's not that the income changed, it's how they have structured their income. That is what is causing for them now to have peace, okay? Not making more income. Right? And here's something that I've learned over and over again: peace doesn't usually come from more money. Peace comes from knowing what to do with what you already have. And that's stewardship. That is simply what stewardship is. That's also alignment, and it's also clarity. And that's one of the reasons why I created Financial Rebellion Foundations, because most people were never taught how to build that kind of structure. They were taught how to earn money, but not how to steward it. Now, the next Financial Rebellion 90-day experience is not going to return until 2027. But I didn't want people like you waiting years just to begin learning these foundational principles. So, Financial Rebellion Foundations was created as a self paced entry point into radical godly stewardship. And the founding student pre registration is open right now. Regular price is 127, but founding students can enroll for just $69 using the coupon code founding25. So who are the founding students? Well, the first 25 students who enroll in the program, either the first 25 or however, it could be less than that if June 30th comes first. So either when we hit 25 students or June 30th, whichever comes first. Now, the link is in the description, and I'm going to leave you with this thought tonight. Sometimes the solution to financial stress isn't more income. Sometimes it's more clarity. Oftentimes, the solution is more clarity. Think about that. Okay. And as usual, go produce, go multiply, go dominate, and have a great night, everybody. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.